Hi there, everybody. I'm Mairead Smialek, and today we're here with Brian Walton, and he's from Save Our Seabirds. He's the executive director. And, there's so much nature in Florida, right? I mean, we live, we coexist. So I think it's really important to talk about, the beautiful nature we have and what we can do to help it. So tell us a little bit about Save Our Seabirds.
Well, thank you for inviting me to
Thank you.
participate today. Very happy to be here. So, in the simplest form, Save Our Seabirds is who you call if you find a sick or injured bird, a bird in distress. We get about 5,000 calls
A year?
a year.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty stunning. When I first heard that number, I was like, that's got to be a made
Yeah.
up number. That
Yeah.
can't be. But we're open 365 days a year. So that translates to about 13 phone calls a day, which is definitely real. So people will call us when they see a bird in distress, a bird alongside the road, a bird on the beach, those kinds of things, a abandoned nest of baby birds.
Yeah.
And so we ask for pictures and video, and then we send rescuers out to rescue those birds, bring them into our hospital, treat them with the goal of releasing them back into the wild.
Great. And where are you guys located?
We're located in Ken Thompson Park,
Okay.
which is, it's also known as City Island. It's next door to where Moat
Moat used to be,
was
yeah.
before they just
Yeah.
relocated.
Yep.
We've been there 40 years.
Wow.
And originally that site was known as the Pelican Man Sanctuary. People who have a lot of Sarasota history would remember Pelican Man back from the 80s. But we're Save Our Seabirds today. And we treat about 1,200 birds a year in our hospital with the goal of releasing them back into their native habitats.
So, what do you think, as an organization, your biggest accomplishments are?
Longevity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Birds are fragile, beautiful creatures.
Yeah.
They're also very hard to catch when they're healthy because they fly.
Yeah.
So
And we don't.
so unfortunately, by the time we get birds in our facility, they're in pretty fragile condition. But the fact that we've been doing this for so long, we've made a big impact. Every bird that we rescue, it's not just about that bird, but it's about all of the offspring of that bird.
Yeah.
This is a little known public stat, but Cornell University did a website called State of the Birds. It's a public website, anybody can look at it. Their studies nationally have shown now that in North America in the last 50 years, we've lost 1/3 of our adult bird population.
From what?
The short answer is from us.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, so, and I don't mean that as some kind
No,
of guilt trip,
no,
but
right.
it's, we've developed, you look at Florida, look at all of the development, we live where they used to live.
Yeah. Yep.
I can tell you that our internal stats, as much as 60+% of those birds that come in are due to a human encounter of some kind.
Yeah.
They were in someone's yard, there was a boat strike, a car strike, they were caught in fishing line and lures. Yeah. That's a really big one, especially for the water birds, the pelicans, the cormorants. Accidental poisoning. We just had a hawk in our hospital this week. Traditional rodenticides are actually horrible for birds. They're designed to cause the animal to bleed out internally. It's not an instant death. So imagine a rat eats poison and he's lethargic. Well, guess which rat is easiest for the hawk to catch? And then the hawk feeds it to the whole nest, and now the whole family is. So accidental poisoning is a huge issue with all of the birds of prey: owls, hawks, eagles, all those guys. It's a big struggle.
And you don't really think about that. You think about, I have a rat, right? Because it comes up all the time, especially waterfront property. No one wants to talk about it, but there are rats all over the place.
There's a lot of rats on City Island, for sure.
Yeah. So, but you don't think about what the implications are to the greater population of animals.
So it's just, we can heat map different parts of the city, and we can see where sandhill crane impacts are happening, and people say, why are there so many sandhill cranes in my neighborhood? Well, because your neighborhood wasn't always there. Like that's the stomping ground of those birds. So our mission and our goal is not to make people feel guilty, or our goal is actually to educate and also just to step in and try to mediate, to remediate our impact on being here, So every bird we save, we're mediating that impact, trying to change that long-term issue of loss of bird populations.
So this may be a dumb question, but I was driving in Lakewood Ranch the other day and there was a turtle in the middle of the road and I didn't want to keep driving. I didn't know what to do and there was traffic coming back. And then I thought to myself, are you supposed to, touch a turtle, touch a bird? Like if you see some, is it better to just call or what's the best solution or is
Yeah,
it case by case?
well, that's a great question, and I think case by case is unfortunately probably the cop out answer
Yeah.
because it really depends on so many factors. People don't realize there are actually a lot of laws when it comes to the care of wildlife. For birds, for instance, because of there's National Migration Act laws and different things. So it's illegal for a member of the general public to see an injured bird and keep it and nurse it back to health. Now, there's probably nobody going to come knocking on somebody's
Yeah.
door to get that bird, but you're not supposed to do it. You're supposed to find a rehabber, and that would be true with pretty much any species of bird or animal. So, in our case, what we would say is we want you to call Save Our Seabirds. Now, if it's another animal, we only treat birds. That's our specialty, but we can recommend people to other organizations, to other groups that deal with that particular species. But what we do is we'll ask for pictures and video because I can't tell you how many times people call and say there's a problem, and in reality, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
I found this baby bird, and we get the picture, and it's actually a full-grown adult screech owl, but they're teeny tiny, and it's normal for them to hide in your bushes during the day. Like and
Got
so
it.
we'll say, just leave it alone, let it be. So that's how we go from 5,000 calls to treating 1,200. Is there's a lot of them that
Right.
don't steal the baby bird, just leave it where it is, like it's
Yeah.
okay. But we are able to talk to those people, determine if there's a problem, then send somebody out to get it. And then another side of our work is we have what's called a Wild Bird Learning Center. Our Wild Bird Learning Center is open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. It's completely free of charge. It's just a self-guided tour, and we have about 100 permanent resident birds on public display. So people can come in, we try to make it a very restful, serene environment. And the idea is to hopefully inspire and excite people
Yeah.
about the beauty of birds,
Yeah.
and then also give some messages. Talk
Yeah.
about the rodenticide problem, talk about fishing line and lures. What are the things that we can do to sort
Yeah.
of mitigate our own personal impact?
And we talk about human behavior. Everybody loves to go to the beach and everyone loves to bring food to the beach and, order food at the beach. And, the biggest problem is you walk around and the birds come flying down. They want to eat your food, right?
Mhm.
So let's talk about why they're doing it and what we should be doing as humans to prevent them from eating our food, because it's not
Sure.
good for them, right?
Sure. No, in most cases it's not. And
Okay.
and that would be, one of our instructions to people when they find a bird. Generally our encouragement is don't feed it anything, like because you can do unintended harm,
Yeah.
especially if you're trying to force feed a bird. So we generally just say don't feed them anything. This is a touchy subject for a lot of people. A lot of people who very much love animals, they want to have their feeders, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of nuances to when is it good, when is it bad. Some will say it's always bad. Most of the time, the way you have to think about it is most encounters that birds, in our case, animals have with human beings don't go well for the animal. They just don't. So if we're feeding them, we're actually training them to come over and over and over, and ultimately that's going to lead to something bad for the birds. So it's fun to feed the birds. I see people on the beach, but it's generally not the best thing for us to do, and it would be great if we didn't. But they're substituting for other sources of food that were once available.
Yeah.
It can be a very controversial subject with folks on our keys because we all love our beaches and we love how beautiful they are, but the rack line, that's a great source of food for the birds.
Yeah.
When it always gets cleared away, the birds are looking for some other alternative source of food. And so, yeah, almost everything we do has an impact of some
Yeah.
kind.
Yeah.
And this is coming from someone like myself who is not, I don't consider myself in any way like a lifelong avid conservationist. I'm just a reasonable person who can see that we have an impact on the world around us, and we all love the world around us. So we're just trying to do what we can to lessen that
Yeah.
negative
And
impact.
I think educating people is really helpful because, I mean, I'm talking to you today. I've learned so much that I didn't know. And I own waterfront property
Hmm.
on Longboat. So
Sure.
I mean, I'm interacting with birds all the time and I
Right.
don't know these things,
Right.
including killing the rats. I mean, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so what can people do to help? Is there funding? Can they volunteer? Like, how do we get, like, people are going to watch this video and say, I want to help, like our turtle program where, people, so
Absolutely.
what can they
Yeah.
do?
First of all, we are a private nonprofit organization that treats 1,200 birds a year for injuries. Unfortunately, not one of those birds has health insurance. We haven't found one yet. So we don't have any fees for services,
Yeah.
essentially. So we
Yeah.
rely on the philanthropy of generous neighbors who love the birds and agree that we need to do something to mitigate our impact. And so we rely on donations. So at our website, saveourseabirds.org, people can go there and they can make a financial donation. That is our lifeblood, and that's how we survive. They can come visit. We'd love for folks to come on campus and see what we are doing with permanent resident birds. On our website, they can also learn about our annual gala. We have a beautiful event planned this spring in March. We'd love people to purchase tickets, come and have a wonderful night, and learn about our organization and what we're doing. And volunteers. On our events page of our website, people can go there and they can see when our next rescue training event is. We do them on Saturday mornings about once a quarter. You can come in and listen to our lead rehabber and some other rescuers who will talk about how you go about rescuing different types of birds, because when we get that call and we send people out, it is almost always a volunteer that we send out.
Yeah.
And so some of the volunteers are like, I just want to do transport. I want somebody to give me a bird in a box and I'll drive it to you. That's incredibly helpful, like incredibly. And then other volunteers are, I don't do a bird in a box, but if you need a kayak and a crane and a ladder, and there are those. We've had some amazing adventurous rescues, and we love our volunteers.
Well, this was really helpful and informative. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
And if you want to find out any details about this fantastic organization, you can find it below, and I'll see you on the next one.